All right, guys, Cody here. Wanted to make a video. I had a little time on my hands. I thought I was doing a podcast tonight, and just screwed up on that. It's a week from tonight that I'll be doing a podcast. So, a little time on my hands. Figure I'd make a video. Questions today. What is the no double standard law or policy? What is an RSO versus an ARSO, and the types of careers one can get after DS. So, no double standard policy. I'm just going to read it just because it's better than what I could explain. And the first thing says, excuse me while I move this, generally if the Department of State shares information with the official U.S. government community, it should also make the same or similar information available to the non-official U.S. community if the underlying threat applies to both official and non-official U.S. citizens and nationals. So that came up after, I believe it was Turkey. There was a threat in Turkey. I put a post. I do these, if you're not following me on Instagram, I do these posts that are kind of what would you do posts if you were a regional security officer or security manager out of these countries. And, that made me think of the no double standard policy. And it relates to threats. So basically, if the U.S. Embassy is going to quote unquote hunker down, shelter in place because there's a threat, then that information needs to be made available to the general populace of American citizens that are out there. And generally, that gets in the news and spread, towards to the U.S. like we had with the threat in Turkey. So that doesn't mean that you're going to get all the information. The U.S. government doesn't have to share information, for example, of how they obtained it, whether it's through other government agency, whether it's through the local security apparatus. They don't have to share that. So as U.S. citizens, you'll get a certain amount of information. If you're on the other side, if you are the regional security officer, you'll work alongside with possibly the agency or a couple other entities in the embassy or consulate, in particular with the deputy chief of mission and the ambassador, of what will we release, what exactly will we release to the U.S. citizens, the community, the expats out there. So anyway, that's a no double standard policy. I had a question the other day: is what's the difference between an RSO and an ARSO? RSO. So first off, those titles, there's a diplomatic security special agents. That's the titles that are used in a diplomatic capacity in U.S. embassies and consulates. So they won't say, go check with the diplomatic security agent or the DS agent. They'll say, go check with the RSO, right? They refer everything as the regional security office. So that's just your title when you're overseas. The regional security officer is the top security officer, the top DS agent in charge at the embassy or consulate. The assistant regional security officer is basically the deputy. If it's only one or two of you, if it's several of you, then it might be the RSO and two or three ARSOs. There are some posts with deputy RSOs, and that's an official position as the deputy RSO. And so how's it ranked? So if you're the RSO, you're going to be more senior than, generally, 9 times out of 10, more senior than sometimes you're equivalent, because a guy or girl will come in, and there's an FS3 or an FS2, and the guy's a 3 that comes in, or vice versa, not vice versa. They'll replace him. Maybe the guy didn't get promoted or is about to be promoted. I don't freaking know, something like that. But it's not where you'll have a 2, or FS3 or GS13 that works for a 4. It doesn't work. It doesn't work that way. So generally, the RSO is more senior. The ARSO is not. If it's a deputy, the RSO is the top person. The deputy is the next person, and the ones below that are the lower ones. So ARSOs can be everything from an SS5 to, an FS3. Usually you're a 4 by the time you're an ARSO, just because due to time in service, you'll get promoted. But you never know. You may go TDY somewhere. You may get an assignment right out of, go to your field office and they need someone in Juba. And you say, screw it, I'll go to Juba, and you're a freaking 4 or you're a 5 or something. So it's possible. You'll get some posts where there's they call it, the title is the senior RSO. Those are usually big posts. So you have a senior RSO and you have a bunch of deputies. So Baghdad is a bunch of deputy RSOs. And then you have a bunch of ARSOs. And the ARSOs, again, in these cases, the deputy could be an OC or an MC, which is higher than so GS15 is the equivalent to a 1. So OCs and MCs are higher than that. So they're senior executive service. So you might have the senior RSO as an OC. The deputies are, FS1s, which is your GS15 equivalent. And then everyone below would be, an ARSOs basically. And, now that ARSO that's an FS2 might still be in charge of a program where he has a bunch of ARSOs under him as well. I'm throwing freaking ARSO around a lot, but that's kind of how it works. So in sum, RSO, deputy RSO, ARSO, and the rank matters generally. All right, what types of careers after DS? There's all kind. None will be as exciting as your DS career, likely. But there are all types. In particular, corporate security. Corporate security pays very well. They have the title, these chief security officer is usually the top person in a corporate environment. And those positions go up all the way to being a vice president of global security, to a director, and senior manager positions, specialist positions. So all of those exist within corporate security. Some might be kind of mundane, and some might not. I mean, you have Disney out here in LA. So Disney has a serious executive protection program for their guy. They also have facilities around the world where they have security, regional security managers. There's like international SOS. There's Visa, you name it. There's all these big companies. They have security managers, and if they're overseas, and a lot of them have places, have locations in some of these high threat countries. Imagine being, with international SOS where you have people on the ground, or you go to these nonprofits like the UN has security manager positions. That's an NGO, but you get what I'm saying. Nonprofit organizations have security managers and chief security officers, and those guys are in some high threat locations that can make it exciting, or some locations where there's muggings and kidnappings and murders. So it can be pretty cool. It just depends where you land and what you like. But a lot of it is program management, and that's what kind of DS really is kind of the big thing that we do that's different from other agencies. Because all other agencies, they do investigations, they do, Secret Service, for example, does protection as well. If Marshals does protection for judges and stuff, but we do security program management, and that's where we get the biggest bang for our buck. And we're still kind of getting known out there. People don't really know who DS is, and that's one of the reasons for my podcast, the Off the X podcast. If you haven't heard of it, go check it out. And it's to kind of get the word out there about who we are and what we do as DS agents. What else? Other types of jobs, other federal agencies. A lot of people come in and jump ship. I got a buddy who just did it a couple months ago. He's with HSI now. You can jump to Secret Service, FBI. I mean, there's different parameters in what you have to do. If you go to DEA or FBI out of us, you might be able to maintain your grade, or at least they'll step you out so that you get enough, you kind of maintain your pay. But FBI and DEA, you'll have to go back to their training in Quantico. Whereas other ones, you just go to the agency-specific training, so you get to skip the FLETC portion. So other federal agencies. What else? Contractors. Well, I don't know many people that went DS and go through like security contract, like private military contractors. But there are some that'll, go work at the Fast C, or go work at Dunn Loring, or, and take on these different roles as a specialist in that field. So those jobs exist. And they're PSC, so personal services contracts. So you just work for yourself. You're like a 1090. I think it's a 1099 employee. And there are some companies that provide contract services as well. If you retire, there's this thing called WAE. It's called when actually employed. Those are usually for senior level guys and girls. And if you retire and you're like, I want to be on this WAE train. So, all right, well, the State Department has a 3-month gap in between, the RSO retiring or leaving his post, and the next RSO who's still in training is a 3-month gap. Or we can't fill this position because, the person that was supposed to go there got really sick, and it takes time because it's language required or whatever, they'll send a WAEer out. It's one of these, former RSOs that has probably a ton of experience at different posts, and you'll go out and you'll make your money while you're, you WAE, and you generally get to go to a post for a few months. You live it up. You live in official housing. You make some money, and a lot less stress because you're not worried about getting promoted and moving on up in the chain in DS, or caring too much what they think. Oh, the worst you could lose is not being a WAEer anymore. So that's a pretty cool gig, but that's for more senior level personnel. I saw these new positions on the corporate side as well. They're like law enforcement liaison positions. So a lot of these gamer companies will have these positions because a lot of these, or just social media companies have them as well, because they're freaking pervs on social media and they're pervs in these gaming plans. So, you might get everything from I say pervs because, there's people trying to recruit kids sometimes, trying and do nefarious things with kids. And so as law enforcement liaison, you may be like, all right, you have the access to the database where this adult man said something to this kid and was trying to recruit this kid into, I don't know, sex trade or child trafficking. So you would be the liaison to whoever, FBI, HSI, locals, you name it. And the same thing with social media. They have it. So these law enforcement liaison positions are an opportunity as well. I don't know of any DS agents that have filled those. We're in a significant amount of corporate security roles, traditional roles, whether it be executive protection managers, or just residential security, global security, and is a more general term. Physical security specialists or physical security managers, directors, stuff like that. That's what they're in usually. So, but these law enforcement liaison positions look pretty interesting. So anyway, that's it. 12 minutes of me rambling for 3 questions. So, first, again, thanks for all the support. Been getting a lot of it and a lot of feedback, and people have been buying the book and saying nice things, and yeah, it's cool. I really appreciate that. Check out the podcast, Off the X podcast. It's been a while since I put one out. I do have a full-time job in corporate security, for those of you that haven't watched all the other videos. So I spend time doing that. I have a family, and so I just, sometimes I get overwhelmed and can't, put information out as fast as I would like to. So, we're trying to put it out, and, that's what we're doing. I have had the opportunity recently to meet with one of the followers from Instagram and somebody who's in the DS process. And if you're around San Diego, I'd be down to have a coffee or something. And he asked questions and I answered them. And it's just building a network and being a good human. I like to think that that's what we're all trying to be. So, what else? Ping me if you got questions. I generally answer them. If I don't, it's not on purpose. So ping me again and say, hey man, could you just following up with you? What else? Got my mentorship program going for those of you applying for that are in the DS process. Just doing some scenario based test prep stuff. I don't know the answers to the test, but it's just someone to bounce ideas off and feedback, and I do that. That's an official capacity. I do charge for that, but it's a little business I have going. What else? The book is doing well. It's on Amazon. You can buy it directly from me on CodyPerron.com, which is my website. And I will happily, if interested, sign it or write something nice. Christmas is coming around, holidays. Maybe you'll be interested in giving that to someone. Hoodies. I have like a few large hoodies, high threat protection, getting you off the X hoodies. I have a second batch coming, so I will have more than larges. I'll have smalls and mediums and larges and extra larges coming up. But I sold out of all of them, of all of the other sizes besides large. And I do have a second design coming out. It's called Knuckle Draggers. It's a Knuckle Draggers design, Knuckle Draggers Unlimited. And it's like do work and chill. So it's a pretty cool design. Got a skeleton sitting there with his rifle and in Saddam's chair. I think it's pretty cool. With some like beer and rippets on the side. Anyway, but that'll be on CodyPerron.com as well. So anyway, I took up 15 minutes of your time already. So hope you appreciate it. Comment below, share these videos, give a thumbs up if you like them, and hit hit me up if you got any questions. All right, appreciate it. Thanks, y'all. Out.